different ethical theories and approaches: deontological, utilitarian, and virtue ethics. Now, different ethical theories provide distinct frameworks for determining what is morally right or wrong. These theories may be drawn upon when ethical decisions need to be made in a variety of different contexts, guiding what a potential right course of action should look like based on the context such as people, community values, principles, and potential consequences. So what we're going to do now is take a look at three of these theories and essentially look at their logic in the decision-making process into what is ethically right. Firstly, we'll take a look at the deontological theory. And in this theory of ethics, we're focusing on the nature of actions rather than their consequences. So, the philosophy emphasizes the importance of individuals following their established moral rules or duties or principles regardless of what the outcomes may be. So I do what I think is right, and it doesn't matter if the outcome could potentially be positive or negative, as long as I'm doing what is right in my head and sticking by the principles of what is right. So, for example, and this is a very simple example, if lying is considered morally wrong, then lying would always be considered wrong as a wrong action in this context because it is considered morally wrong. Even if lying would make people happy, we don't do it because the truth is the way. Okay, so the deontological theory basically says that we don't lie, we tell the truth, doesn't matter what that's going to lead to because we still stuck to our principles and we did the right thing. The next theory contrasts this. So this is the utilitarian theory. Okay, and this form of ethics examines the morality of actions based on the potential consequences. So whereas the deontological theory was saying we're focusing on actions rather than their consequences, in this theory, we're looking at what are the consequences and let that guide what actions we do. This theory focuses on maximizing happiness or minimizing suffering for all parties involved. So, in this context, if lying in a specific situation would result in making a group happy, then the utilitarian theory would argue that lying might be a justifiable course of action. Okay, it could be that we're keeping a secret that by lying about and maintaining that secret will make people happier in the long term. But then it could be more controversial in that if I just don't tell people a certain piece of information and that keeps them happy and doing their jobs, is that the right thing to do? And that's an ethical situation itself based on a context. But in this context, yes, lying could be an ethical course of action because it makes people happy and that aligns with the utilitarian philosophy. The last category we're going to look at is that of virtue ethics. Okay, and here we're talking about traits or characteristics within people that are considered morally good. So we have virtues. That is what a virtue is, certain specific traits, and one of them is that of honesty, for example. Okay, that is a trait. Integrity is a trait. Okay, building these characteristics up within people, and that is the foundations for our decision making. So, this theory emphasizes the development of these traits and values as a means to determine the right and wrong course of action. And so, this one then kind of aligns very closely with the deontological theory. But we're looking at the individual developing these traits in them. So, it's going in a more fundamental manner. So once again, in this situation, if it came to a situation of lying once again, this is also considered wrong by this actual theological theory. Okay, reason being is lying is against the actual trait of honesty. Honesty is a valuable trait, so we don't encourage lying, and therefore lying would not be a course of action to go ahead with in the virtue ethical theory. All right, because we want to develop people to have positive virtues within themselves, those traits and values that are considered positive for humans to have. So I hope this video has given you an understanding of these three theories. Essentially, the ontological, focusing on actions rather than their consequences, and that our actions should reflect good moral actions regardless of outcomes. The utilitarian theory, which is kind of the opposite, where we're looking at consequences as opposed to actions. And if the consequence is going to lead to a positive outcome or people being happy, then we can modify our actions, okay, in different ways to achieve that positive outcome. And then finally, virtue ethics, that of developing the characteristics within humans that are considered virtuous and that we want to promote and have within people in order to be seen as good and proper in achieving positive outcomes. So I hope this clears up these three theories and helps you with your decision making process. And obviously, the final thing to say too, you might get outcomes in situations in real life where you look at context of multiple theories, such as these ones here, and determine an outcome that might cross go across multiple of these, or you do all three, and in different situations, different theories are the best for different contexts and different cases. So I hope this helps you guide with the decision making in these different contexts.